For as long as anyone can remember, Canada was one of the most wanted destinations on Earth. It sat near the top of every list, the country people dreamed of moving to. Stable, safe, welcoming, full of opportunity, a place where you could arrive with almost nothing and build a real life. People spent years and their entire savings trying to get here. To move to Canada was to win something. It was the destination that felt like a promise kept. And in 2026, something is quietly shifting. The shine is coming off. The dream is dimming. For a growing number of people around the world who once looked at Canada as the goal, it no longer looks like the sure thing it used to be. Some are choosing other countries. Some are arriving, struggling, and warning the people back home not to follow. The magnetic pull that defined Canada for generations is weakening. Now let me be careful and clear, because this is a sensitive subject and precision matters. This is not a video about immigration policy, or numbers, or who should or shouldn't come. It's a video about something simpler and sadder. Why Canada stopped looking like the dream. Because the reason is the same reason behind every story on this channel, and it should concern every single person who lives here. Stay with me. You might be thinking, why should I care whether people want to move here? Let me explain why this matters to everyone in the country, whether you were born here or arrived last year. A country that people desperately want to move to is a country that's winning. The desire to come is a vote of confidence, a signal from the whole world that this is a place where life is good and the future is bright. For generations, the world voted for Canada with their feet, and that was something to be proud of. So when that desire cools, it's not a neutral fact, it's a signal. The same kind of signal as the empty condos, the closing dealerships, the leaving skilled workers. It's the outside world confirming what people inside the country have been feeling, that life here has gotten harder, more expensive, and less rewarding. The world is an honest mirror. When fewer people dream of your country, it's often because your country has become harder to dream about. And the specific things making Canada harder to dream about are the exact things making it harder to live in, which means this cooling dream is really a story about your own cost of living, reflected back from the outside. The first reason the dream dimmed is the one this whole channel keeps returning to. Housing. Word travels. People considering a move to Canada don't decide blindly. They research, they talk to relatives and friends who already came, they read and watch and listen. And what they're hearing now is very different from what they heard a decade ago. They're hearing that you can arrive in Canada with good qualifications and a good job and still not afford a place to live. That rent will consume most of your income, that buying a home is out of reach, that people are sharing cramped apartments well into adulthood, that the beautiful life in the pictures comes with a cost of living that can swallow you whole. That's a devastating thing for a would-be immigrant to hear, because the entire point of moving was to improve your life. If the honest report from the ground is, you'll work hard and still struggle to afford a home, the calculation changes. Why uproot everything, leave your family and your language and your world, to move somewhere you'll struggle just as much, or more? The housing crisis isn't just pushing people out, as we saw in the emigration video. It's quietly telling people not to come in the first place. The second reason is more painful, because it's about the people who did come and what happened to them. For a long time, the immigrant story in Canada had a reliable shape. You arrive, you work incredibly hard, and within a reasonable time you build a stable, comfortable life. That story was true for millions of people, and it's a genuinely beautiful part of this country's history. It's also the story that made the next generation want to come, because they saw it work. But increasingly, newcomers are hitting the same wall as everyone else. They arrive with skills and determination, and they discover that their credentials aren't always recognized, that housing eats their income, that the jobs available don't pay what life costs, that the ladder they came to climb has the same broken rungs we've talked about in every other video. And here's the crucial part. Those people talk. They call home. They post online. They tell their siblings and cousins and friends the truth about their experience. And when the truth stops matching the dream, when the reports coming back are about struggle instead of success, the pull weakens at the source. The most powerful advertisement for immigrating to Canada was always the success of the people who did it. When that success gets harder, the advertisement fades. The third reason is competition, and it's one people forget. Canada isn't the only option, and the world has choices. For a long time, Canada had a relatively unique offer. Stable, safe, welcoming, prosperous, with a clear path to building a life. That combination made it stand out. But other countries compete for the same talented, motivated people, and some of them have improved their offer while Canada's got harder. So a skilled person weighing where to build their future now compares Canada against real alternatives, and Canada's affordability problem makes it a weaker contender than it used to be. When the flagship advantage of coming here was a good life is attainable, and that's precisely the thing that's slipping, Canada loses ground against places where it still is. This is the quiet danger. Countries compete for people the way they compete for investment, and the winners are the places where ordinary hardworking people can actually get ahead. Canada spent generations as one of those winners. The cost of living crisis is quietly moving it down the list, not because Canada got worse at welcoming people, but because it got harder to afford, which is the thing that mattered most. But here's the real reason nobody's dreaming of Canada the way they used to. The shocking one underneath all of it. Canada was never really selling immigration. It was selling opportunity. And the opportunity is what broke. This is the whole thing. People never dreamed of Canada in the abstract. The flag, the map, the cold. They dreamed of what Canada offered. The chance to work hard and build a better life than they could where they were. That was the product. That was always the product. The maple leaf was just the label. And that product, attainable opportunity, is exactly what this entire channel has documented breaking. Housing you can't afford, jobs that don't cover the cost of living, a middle class being hollowed out, ladders broken at every rung. The thing that made Canada worth moving to is the thing that's failing. So of course the dream is dimming. You can't sell opportunity that no longer exists. The cooling desire to move here isn't a mystery, and it isn't about the newcomers, and it isn't about policy. It's the world noticing correctly that Canada's core promise, work hard here and you'll build a good life, has gotten much harder to keep. The dream dimmed because the reality behind it dimmed. That's the shock, and it's a mirror. The same broken promise that's pushing Canadians out, that's crushing the middle class, that's freezing every market. That same broken promise is what's cooling the dream from the outside. It's all one story, and the fading pull of Canada from abroad is simply the most external, most global confirmation that the story is real. Let me make it real with two people. The first came to Canada a few years ago, full of hope. She had qualifications, ambition, and a picture in her head of the life she'd build. She works hard, harder than most. And years in, she's still renting a cramped place, still watching a home stay out of reach, still doing the math and finding it doesn't add up the way she was promised it would. She doesn't regret coming exactly. She loves things about this country. But she's honest with her family back home when they ask. And what she tells them is, it's not what we thought. The second is her cousin, back in their home country, who was planning to follow her. He was saving, preparing, dreaming of joining her in Canada. And after those honest phone calls, after hearing what it's really like, the housing, the costs, the struggle, he's reconsidering. Maybe he'll go somewhere else. Maybe he'll stay. The dream that pulled his cousin across the world isn't pulling him the same way, because the person living it told him the truth. That's how the dream dims. Not through policy or headlines. One honest phone call at a time, from someone who came and found the promise harder to reach than they'd been told. The most trusted source in the world, family who already made the leap, is quietly reporting back that the water's colder than the brochure said. And this costs the country far more than national pride. For generations, Canada's ability to attract driven, talented people from around the world was one of its greatest economic engines. Newcomers start businesses, fill essential roles, bring skills, pay taxes, and build communities. A country that people want to move to has a powerful, self-renewing advantage. The world keeps sending it its most motivated people. If that pull weakens, Canada loses access to some of that talent and energy. At the exact moment, it's also losing its own people out the other door, as we covered. A country leaking skilled people and becoming less attractive to new ones is facing a genuine problem. Who exactly is going to do the work, fill the roles, and build the future? And there's a deeper cost, harder to measure. Part of Canada's identity, part of what Canadians have been proud of, was being the place the world wanted to come to. That was a story the country told about itself. When it stops being true, something is lost that isn't just economic. A country that people no longer dream about has lost a piece of what it was. Now, let's be honest and complete, because this topic more than any other demands it. Canada remains a country that enormous numbers of people still want to come to. The pull weakening is not the pull vanishing. By any global standard, Canada is still safe, still stable, still genuinely desirable, still far ahead of most of the world on the things that matter most. Plenty of people still dream of coming here, and many still build wonderful lives when they do. This is a story about a dimming shine, not a dark room. And the fix is the same fix as everything else on this channel, which is oddly hopeful. Canada doesn't need to become more attractive by changing who it is. It needs to become more affordable, to rebuild the attainable opportunity that was always its real draw. Fix the housing, fix the wages, restore the ladder, and the shine comes back on its own, because the underlying appeal never went anywhere. The country is still beautiful. The problem is purely that living in it got too expensive, and that's fixable. So this isn't a story about Canada failing as a country, or about newcomers, or about who belongs. It's a story about a great country that priced itself down from a sure thing to a maybe, and could price itself back up again by fixing the one thing that's broken. So where does this go? If the dream dimmed because opportunity broke, then the only real way to relight it is to rebuild opportunity, which means the same thing this channel keeps arriving at: affordable housing, wages that match costs, a middle class that works. Do that, and Canada is once again the place the world dreams about, because the underlying appeal was never the problem. Fail to do that, and the shine keeps fading, and the country slowly loses one of its oldest advantages. Which leaves the question this channel keeps returning to, now from the outside looking in. What does it mean when the country the whole world wanted to move to becomes a country people have to think twice about? So I want to hear from you, and please keep it kind, because there are real people's lives in this. Did you move to Canada? Was it what you hoped? And would you tell someone back home to follow you? Are you thinking of coming? And what's making you hesitate? Or did you consider Canada and choose somewhere else? And do you think the shine can come back? Tell me in the comments below. I read every one, and the people living this from every side have the truest stories. And if you want clear-eyed breakdowns of the forces reshaping life across Canada, subscribe to Canada Insider. There's a lot more of this story to tell.